Welcome to Cultivated Live for Halloween, October 31st, 2024. I am Jay Rosenthal in skeleton shirt today. You are Krista Raymer, the founder and CEO of Vetrina, the foremost cannabis retail consultancy. But we are on Cultivated Live, which is what we do every single day, because since we launched Cultivated, our goal has been to be cannabis industry first, providing you with the most important, insightful, useful, and timely information every day. We do that through this show, obviously, through LinkedIn and our YouTube channel. We also do it through our daily newsletter, which you can find at cultivated.news, which is called Cultivated Daily. And it's a friggin' awesome read, by the way. Like, I read it, I learn a lot because Jeremy generally writes it. He's our editor-in-chief, and it is amazing. So follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe to us on YouTube, get our newsletter in your inbox every day by going to cultivated.news. Krista, I know you read Cultivated every day. That's why we have you on every Thursday. Welcome.
Thank you, Jay. I'm really loving this shirt today. I wish you would have had a mask on.
I did. I can't find my mask. I can't find my mask. I will try to find it by tonight while the kids come to the house. But yeah, I do like this shirt. It actually, I can't do it in front of you because it won't work, but it actually glows in the dark too, which is pretty cool.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually wear it all the time underneath other stuff, but then today is the one day I can, I guess, show my ribs. Anyway. Anyway, Krista, you posted something on LinkedIn. I think it was this morning, and it got me thinking. And I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. It was about, I think, about smart decisions about producing stuff. Yes.
Yes, producing stuff. No, I like right now, I think it's a really interesting time to be thinking about where we have backlogs of inventory, both from a retail as well as from a cultivation perspective or processing, somewhere in the packaging process. So if we are looking at kind of like from a retail perspective, we are about to go into one of the busiest periods of the entire year. We have an opportunity to sell down some aging inventory or products that were purchased along the way. But at the same time, we also have this massive opportunity with seasonal inventory. Things like seasonal based flavors, or even like products and categories that don't typically perform well all year, like chocolate specifically, the month of like December and how it performs then versus how it performs the rest of the year. Then on the other side of things, if we look to more of like the packaging purchasing, for example, we've got Chinese New Year kind of like looming. And so there's a lot of decisions that need to be made in the next couple of weeks around getting an order in ahead of that if we're looking to, say, for example, use international options around packaging. Now, in all of these situations, you need a really good forecast to decide how much to buy, because there is nothing worse than having a lot of inventory build up, whether that be in retail or whether it be in wholesale. And one of the things that we've noticed is that when we are thinking about packaging from a processing perspective, a lot of the time we go through sites and there is a ton of old packaging there that's not being used. And it could be because the purchasing decision was made with very little information, which influenced how much they purchased, or they felt like they were going to get a really good deal on a per unit basis. But because there's a bunch of products still sitting there, they could have just paid a premium at the beginning. Or it is really specific and makes it difficult to reuse it for future instances. So you could make a pre-roll pack, but does it have to have the number of units printed on the packaging, for example?
Right. So what I'm understanding. This is an important time of year because, of course, you're dealing with. There's one part of what you're dealing to get things out the door, make it a really successful end of the year where tons of product is sold. It may be unique products for this time of year, but also you need to be planning for 2025, especially around Chinese New Year. If you get your packaging from China, there's going to be a big gap, right, in that time of year, which is January, right? So like there's a lot going on, all predicated on good information, good forecasting, which can sometimes be hard to do.
Yeah.
I guess the question is it better to be like over-indexed with supply? Certainly not, but also packaging, or under-indexed, or try to get it just right?
Obviously just right is the dream. With seasonal-based flavors and that kind of thing, over-indexed is hugely problematic because once the season passes, it is not valuable anymore from a customer perspective. So, for example, like a candy cane chocolate, white chocolate is not relevant the first week of January anymore. And so it becomes irrelevant very quickly. So we probably are going to want to sit on the side of it's okay to sell out moment. From a packaging perspective, obviously, we don't want to miss opportunities from having product not being able to get to market because of packaging. But on the flip side of that, there is a very specific forecast and model that needs to be made that basically looks at what you think your projected sell-through is going to be, what your unit prices might be, and not necessarily getting caught up in the moment where a vendor is offering you better pricing on a per unit basis because of quantity. Because if you don't use the quantities, it's not a per unit price that's better anyways. So you've got to be able to basically model out the scenarios based off of what you think the sell-through is. In some states, we have like really good data now. We have years worth of data to be able to make decisions around projected sell-through. Other states, not so much. And so it is helpful to think about like what our run rate is for that repackaging and see if you can negotiate different terms with the vendor as well. As maybe you want to purchase the inventory but have an option to purchase at another period as opposed to trying to purchase for such a long period of time just before Chinese New Year. So there are ways to get creative around negotiating relationships with vendors. I just don't think that we always push on those as much. So what do you need for the business? We obviously, from a packaging perspective, don't want to under purchase, but at the same time, not getting caught up in the moment where it's attractive to purchase tens of thousands of units because you're going to get a better price per unit is an example of loss aversion that we want to be careful with.
Yeah. Can we drill down to a retailer, right? So I'm a retailer. We're heading into, November starts tomorrow. Busy, very busy 2 months. You got Green Wednesday, you have the holidays, a lot of parties, a lot of people buying for a whole variety of reasons. And I have lots of inventory back of house. Like, what are some things I should be thinking about to get that old age product out the door so that I can start fresh in January, or at least move a bunch so I don't have to mark it down further as time goes on?
Yeah. So anytime that you're trying to move a lot of aged inventory, going immediately deeper than 20% is going to be helpful. A lot of the time, 50% off seems like suspect to customers. And so it's helpful to just go like deeper than 50 to try and get it out. With aging inventory, this is like a race against time. So sitting and having potentially an offer that isn't as attractive for a long period of time and then marking it down deeper isn't helpful. We want to basically get it out and get it out as quickly as possible. The other thing that can be very helpful is doing larger bundle type promotions that get more units out at once. So something else to think about depending on what the product is. As you are getting closer to, say, for example, December 25th, the product that is selling through in stores at that time, people are willing to pay full price. So like get that product and reserve special inventory for that. Don't leverage that period to sell through aging inventory.
I see.
Middle of November to like the first week of December really is an opportunity to kind of get that aged inventory out with special promotions. So the moment that inventory is really past 60 days, it becomes not fresh to the customer. Even if it, like, forget packaging details, just we're thinking about freshness and newness for the customer. So although expiries might be much longer than that, we're trying to think about getting inventory out of the store that hasn't been moving in like 2 months very quickly. So as a guideline, taking a look at stuff that is 60 days or older, and also leveraging that period between middle of November to beginning of December, and then reserving full price inventory for really the 2 weeks leading up to December 25th.
That is good advice. It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. And there's a lot of information if you look historically at the details from last year in terms of how product performed. But it's hard because you make these decisions and then you watch competitors do crazy deals and bundles and you get a little sense of loss aversion. But just because the competitor is doing it doesn't necessarily mean that, one, it financially makes sense, and two, that it is even working. I see a lot of deals that are listed and maybe they get no traction at all. And so one of the first things when you're thinking about trying to get aged inventory out is not just like changing the promotion, but also thinking about the distribution points for that promotion. So does your team know that it exists? That's the first place that I would start before I would go and change a promo after you've made a decision.
Smart. I wish I knew. I did, of course, know you were coming on. I wonder if there's an uptick. This is unrelated. An uptick of adults buying cannabis right before Halloween, so they can sit on their porch and hand out candy, and just have more fun when lots of kids come to your door by eating a gum. By the adults eating a gummy, not the kids eating a gummy.
Right.
Yes.
There is a very different trends in terms of types of products that sell like during Halloween. So the answer would be based off of what we see in the sales data, likely. Yes.
Yeah, I believe it. I totally, and it probably time of week, of course, too, and weather, because I'm in Toronto, as you know, and we have had unseasonably warm or climate change induced really warm weather. Like I'm going to tell you because it's in like the mid 20s. What that means in real life is, or in the States, is like it's mid 60s. Like it's way too warm for this time of year. It's usually a terrible time of year to be outside, but tonight is going to be very warm in Toronto, and there will be lots of trick-or-treaters. So be careful out there, all you people handing out candy and driving around. Krista, thanks for joining us here today. We'll see you next Thursday as well. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks at MJ Biz, the beginning of December. Oh, that's exciting. We'll be there. You'll be there. So I look forward to that in person. Maybe we'll do our Thursday morning connect in person.
In person over coffee. Would love that.
We'll stream it from somewhere on the strip. How do you like that idea?
I love it, Jay.
I like it too. Maybe, you know what? I even have a better idea. I have a great dispensary. They want us to come in and do some content in their shop. I'll tell you all about it. We'll do it from a dispensary.
In-store. Love an in-store.
I love it in-store. Krista, thanks so much for joining us here today. This has been Cultivated Live. Tomorrow we'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern with our Reporter's Notebook segment, which we do in partnership with MJ Biz. We'll be with Omar Saturbe from MJ Biz Magazine, talking about all things that he's been writing about for this month's edition. Krista, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jay.